Are we recording? Do you know? Pandita? Are we recording? Yes, we're recording. Okay. Dandavat. Pujya Shri Guru Varga Vandita Mahabhavantaya Sada Pova Parya Parampara Prachita Praja Pramutakrate Bhakti Nirmala Nirjasti Nipadam Samrasakam Sadaram Vande Shri Guru Devam Ananta Shira Charya Varam Nijam Devam Devyatanam Sujanda Vandanam Bharat Guru Vishta Suparakram Guru Ganaya Rashisha Sampushitam Ch.Ch Samasta Vedi Nipanam Shri Upaptanugam Govinda Bindujalam Varatanam Bhakti Amitam Sundaram Vande Vishwaguncha Divir Bhagava Premnohi Bijabadam. Okay, today we are reading from chapter 19, Madhya Lila, and it's the Lord Ch.Ch. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructs Srila Rupa Goswami. So we'll read the summary of the chapter first. A summary of this chapter is given by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur in his Amrita Prabha Bhashya. Meeting Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in a village called Ramakeli, two brothers, Rupa and Sanatan, began to devise means to get out of their government service. Both brothers appointed some brahmanas to perform Purascharana ceremonies and chant the holy name of Krishna. Srila Rupa Goswami deposited 10,000 gold coins with a grocer, and the balance he brought in 2 boats to a place called Bakla Chandradvip. There he divided this money among the Brahmanas, Vaishnavas and his relatives, and a portion he kept for emergency measures and personal needs. He was informed that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was going to Vrindavan from Jagannath Puri through the forest of Madhya Pradesh. Therefore, he sent 2 people to Jagannath Puri to find out when the Lord would leave Vrindavan. In this way, Rupa Goswami retired. But Sanatana Goswami told the Nawab that he was sick and could not attend to his work. Giving this excuse, he sat at home and studied Srimad Bhagavatam with learned Brahmana scholars. The Nawab Hussain Shah first sent his personal physician to see what the real facts were. Then he personally came to see why Sanatan was not attending to official business. Knowing that he wanted to resign his post, the Nawab had him arrested and imprisoned. The Nawab then went off to attack Orissa. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu started for Vrindavan through the forest of Madhya Pradesh, Charikanda, Rupa Goswami left home and sent news to Sanatan that he was leaving home with his younger brother, Anupama Malika, to meet Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Srila Rupa Goswami finally reached Prayag and met with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for 10 successive days. During this time, Vallabha Bhatta extended an invitation to the Lord with great respect. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu introduced Srila Rupa Goswami to Vallabha Bhatta. After this, a Brahmana scholar named Raghupati Ubhajaya arrived and discussed Krishna consciousness with the Lord. Kaviraj Goswami then extensively describes the living condition of Sri Rupa and Sanatana Vrindavan. During the 10 days at Prayag, Srila Rupa Goswami was instructed by the Lord, who gave him the basic principles of the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. The Lord then sent Srila Rupa Goswami to Vrindavan. The Lord himself returned to Varanasi and stayed at the home of Chandrasekhara. Vrindavaniyam rasakela vatam kalena luptam nija shaktim utakaha sancharya rupe vyatanot puna sa prabhu vido pragiva loka shrishtim. Before the creation of this cosmic manifestation, the Lord enlightened the heart of Lord Brahma with the details of the creation and manifested the Vedic knowledge. In exactly the same way, the Lord, being anxious to revive the Vrindavan pastimes of Lord Krishna, impregnated the heart of Rupa Goswami with spiritual potency. By this potency, Srila Rupa Goswami could revive the activities of Krishna in Vrindavan, activities almost lost to memory. In this way, he spread Krishna consciousness throughout the world. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhaktivinoda. All glories to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. All glories to Lord Nityananda. All glories to Advaita Chandra. And all glories to the devotees of the Lord. Shri Rupa Sanatana Rahe Rama Keli Grame Prabhura Miliya Gela Apana Bhavane. After meeting Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the village of Ramakeli, the brothers Rupa and Sanatan returned to their homes. Doi by Vishaya Te Gera Upaya Shri Jila Bahodana Dia Doi Brahmane Varila. The two brothers devised a means whereby they could give up their material activities. For this purpose, they appointed two brahmanas and paid them a large amount of money. Krishna mantra karila doi purascharana achira paibare chaitanya charana. The brahmanas performed religious ceremonies and chanted the holy name of Krishna, so that the two brothers might attain shelter at the lotus feet of Srimad Chaitanya Mahaprabhu very soon. The Purascharana is a ritualistic ceremony performed under the guidance of an expert spiritual master or brahmana. It is performed for the fulfillment of certain desires. One rises early in the morning, chants the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, performs archana for the arti ceremony and worships the deities. These activities are described in the 15th chapter, verse 108. Shri Rupa Gosai Tabe Nukate Bariya Hapanara Gare Aila Bahudana Lana. At this time, Sri Rupa Goswami returned home, taking with him large quantities of riches loaded in boats. Brahmana Vaishnava Dila Tarad Adadane Eka Choti Dahana Dila Kutumba Bharane. Srila Rupa Goswami divided the wealth that he thought that he brought back home. He gave 50% in charity to the Brahmanas and Vaishnavas and 25% to his relatives. This is a practical example of how one should divide his money and retire from household life. 50% of one's money should be distributed to qualified and pure devotees of the Lord. 25% may be given to family members, and 25% may be kept for personal use in case of emergency. So. Danda bandi lagi choti sanchai karila bala bala viprastane stahi rakila. He kept 1/4 of his wealth with a respectable brahmana. He kept this for his personal safety because he was expecting some legal complications. Gaudiya rakila mudra dasha hajare sanatana viyaya kare rake mudi gaure. He deposited 10,000 coins, which were later spent by Sri Sanatana Goswami in the custody of a local Bengali grocer. Shri Rupa Shanila Prabhura Niladri Gamana Vane Patayabena Prabhu Shri Vrindavan. Shri Rupa Goswami heard that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had returned to Jagannath Puri and was preparing to go to Vrindavan through the forest. Rupa Gosai Nilachali Patayila Doi Jana Prabhu Yabe Vrindavana Karena Gamana. Sri Rupa Goswami sent 2 people to Jagannath Puri to find out when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would depart for Vrindavan. Shigra Ashi More Tanra Deba Samachara Shoniya Tad Anurupa Kariba Via Vahara. Sri Rupa Goswami told the 2 men, "You are to return quickly and let me know when he will depart. Then I shall make the proper arrangements." Ita Sanatana Gosai Bhave Mane Mana Raja More Priti Kare Se Mora Bandhana. While Sanatana Goswami was at the Gauda Desh, he was thinking, "The Nab is very pleased with me. I certainly have an obligation. Kona mate raja yadi more kruda hoya, tabe avyahati hoya karilon nishchaya. Somehow or other, if the Nawab becomes very angry with me, I shall be greatly relieved. That is my conclusion. Avasjera chadmakari raya nija gare, raja karya chadila nayaya raja dvare. On the pretext of bad health, Sanatana Goswami remained home. Thus he gave up the government service. He did not go to the royal court. Lobi kayashtagana raja karya kare, apane svagrehe kare shastrera vichare. The greedy masters of his clerical and secretarial staff performed the government duties, while Sanatana personally remained home and discussed revealed scriptures. Sanatana Goswami was the minister in charge of the government secretariat, and his assistants, the under-secretaries and clerks, all belonged to the Kayashta community. Formerly, the Kayashtas belonged to the clerical and secretarial staff of the government. And later, if one served in such a post, he was called a Kayashta. Eventually, if a person could not identify himself as a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, or Sudra, he used to introduce himself as a Kayashta to get a wealthy and honourable position. In Bengal, it is said that if one cannot give the identity of his caste, he calls himself a Kayashta. On the whole, the Kayashta community is a mixture of all castes, and especially includes those engaged in clerical and secretarial work. Materially, such people are always busy occupying responsible government posts. When Sanatana Goswami was relaxing and feeling inclined to retire from government service, many Kayashtas on his secretarial staff were very eager to occupy his post. In this regard, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur states that when Sanatana Goswami was a government minister, and the Kayashtas who assisted him saw that he was reluctant to continue, they became very expert in their duties. Sanatana Goswami was a Brahmana belonging to the Sarasvat Brahmana community. It is said that when he resigned, an underworker named Purandara Khan, who was a Kayashta, occupied his post. Bhattacharya Pandita Bisha Trisha Lanya Bhagavata Vichara Karena Sabhate Vasya. Sri Sanatana Goswami used to discuss Srimad Bhagavatam in an assembly of 20 or 30 learned Brahmana scholars. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur gives the following commentary on the words Bhagavat Vichara, as confirmed in the Mundaka Upanishad. There are two kinds of education systems. De vidya vidyavita iti asma yad brahma vido vedanti para chaiva para cha tatra para rigvedo yaho vedha samo vedo tarva vedha shiksha kalpo vyakaranam niruktam chando jyoshitam iti atta para yaya tad aksharam adigamyate. There are two kinds of education systems. One deals with transcendental knowledge, paravidya, and the other with material knowledge, aparavidya. All the Vedas, the Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Samaveda, Atharva Veda, and other corollaries known as Shiksha, Kalpa, Vyakaran, Nirukta, Chanda, and Jyotish, all belong to the inferior system of material knowledge. Aparavidya. By Paravidya, one can understand the Akshara, Brahman, and the Absolute. Brahman, or the Absolute Truth. As far as Vedic literature is concerned, Vedanta Sutra is accepted as the Paravidya. Srimad Bhagavatam is an explanation of the Paravidya. Those who aspire for liberation, mukti or moksha, and introduce themselves as Vedantika are also equal to those groups aspiring to improve religion, dharma, economic development, artha, and sense gratification, kama. Dharma, artha, kama, moksha are called chatu varga. They are all within the system of inferior material knowledge. Any literature giving information about the spiritual world, spiritual life, spiritual identity, and the spiritual soul is called Paravidya. Srimad Bhagavatam does not have anything to do with the materialistic way of life. give transcendental information to educate people in the superior system of the Paravidya. Sanatana Goswami was engaged in discussing the Bhagavad Vidya, which means he discussed transcendental superior knowledge. Those who are karmis, jnanis and yogis are not actually fit to discuss Srimad Bhagavatam. Only Vaishnavas, the pure devotees, are fit to discuss that literature, as stated in the Srimad Bhagavatam itself, in the 12th canto, 13th chapter. Text 18, Srimad Bhagavatam Puranam Amalam Yad Vaishnavanam Priyam Yasmin Paramhanksyam Ekam Amalam Jnanam Param Giyate Yacha Jnana Viraga Bhakti Sahitam Naishkarmyam Avishkritam Tach Trinavam Supatam Vicharano Paro Bhaktya Vimuchyan Naraha. Although Srimad Bhagavatam is counted among the Purans, it is called the spotless Puran because it does not discuss anything material. It is liked by transcendental Vaishnava devotees. The subject matter found in Srimad Bhagavatam is meant for Paramahamsas. As it is said, Paramo Nirmata Sharanam. A Paramahamsa is one who does not live in the material world and who does not envy others. In Srimad Bhagavatam, devotional service is discussed to arouse the living entity to the transcendental position of Gyan, knowledge, and Vairagya, renunciation, as stated in Srimad Bhagavatam, the first canto, second chapter, text 12. Ch.Ch Chashadanaha Munayo Jnana Vairagya Yuktaya Pashantya Amantmani Chatmanam Bhaktya Shuta Gritaya. The absolute truth is realized by the seriously inquisitive student or sage who is well equipped with knowledge, who has become detached by rendering devotional service and hearing the Vedanta Sutra. So the Vedanta Shruti, rather. This is not sentiment. Knowledge and renunciation can be obtained through devotional service. Bhaktya Shuta Gritaya. That is by arousing one's dormant devotional consciousness, Krishna consciousness. When Krishna consciousness is aroused, it relieves one from the fruitive activity for economic improvement and material enjoyment. This relief is technically called Naishkarma. When one is relieved, he is no longer interested in working hard for sense gratification. Srimad Bhagavatam is Srila Vyasadev's last mature contribution, and one should read and hear it in an assembly of realized souls while engaging in devotional service. At such a time, one can be liberated from all material bondage. This was the course taken by Sanatana Goswami, who retired from government service to study Srimad Bhagavatam with learned scholars. Aradina Godeshwara, Sangha Ika Jana, Achambite Goshai, Sabate Kaila, Agamana. While Sanatana Goswami was studying Srimad Bhagavatam in the assembly of learned Brahmanas, one day the Nawab of Bengal and another person suddenly appeared. The full name of the Nawab of Bengal, Hussain Shah, was Alodina Saidya Hussaina Saha Saripa Makka, and he ruled Bengal for 23 years, from 1420 to 1443 of the Shakabda era. Sanatana Goswami was studying Srimad Bhagavatam with the scholars in the year 1424. Vacha Dekiya Sabe Brahmane Utila Sambrame Shana Diya Rajare Vashaila. As soon as all the Brahmanas and Sanatana Goswami saw the Nawab appear, they all stood up and respectfully gave him a sitting place to honor him. Although Nawab Hussain Shah was a Malecha Yavana, he was nonetheless the governor of the country. And the learned scholars and Sanatana Goswami offered him all the respect due to a king or governor. When a person occupies an exalted executive post, one should consider that he has acquired the grace of the Lord. In Bhagavad Gita it said, Yad Yad Vibhutimat Sattvam Srimad Urjitam Eva Va Tat Tad Eva Gacha Tvam Mamo Teja Mishna Shah Sangbhavam. Know that all beautiful, glorious and mighty creations spring from but a spark of my material splendor. It's the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 10. Text 41. Whenever we see something exalted, we must consider it part of the power of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. A powerful man, Vibhutimat Sattvam, is one who has obtained the grace of the Lord or has derived some power from him. In Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7, text 10, Krishna says, Tejasvinam Aham, I am the power of the powerful. The learned Brahmana scholars showed respect to Nawab Hussain Shah because he represented a fraction of Krishna's power. This is quite hard to understand that when people are in high, very wealthy people in this world, people achieve high exalted government positions, they're there because they're empowered to do it. They're there because the Lord gives them that power. So that is to be honoured and respected. The Lord lives within every living entity, even though they may be degraded. And maybe, they may be doing some very bad things in terms of what we think. Still, the Vaishnava gives all honour and respect. Never creates enemies. Because actually they are, whatever our viewpoint is of what goes on in the world, people are sincerely thinking they're doing the right thing. Okay? And that's what happens. So we have to respect that. And this Nawab Hussain Shah was actually a very cruel ruler. Very harsh ruler, actually. But still he was in the power of government and he was associating with pure devotees, who were his ministers. Such exalted people. So we could say perhaps he was performing some sort of leela. Maybe he was a great personality of the Lord, playing this role. Just like Putana played the role of the demon to kill Krishna on her breast. In the spiritual world she is Krishna's mother, one of Krishna's mothers. She's Ambika Kalimba. And in Gaura Leela, she's Malini, the wife of Srinivasacharya. So this is quite astonishing. Raja Kahe Tomaratane Vaidya Patayulan Vidya Kahe Vidyadi Nahi Shushta Ye Dekiyulan. The Nawab said, I sent my physician to you, and he's reported that you are not diseased. As far as he could see, you are completely healthy. Amariya Kichu Karya Saba Toma Lanya Karya Chari Rahila Tumi Karete Vasiya. I am depending upon you to carry out so many of my activities, but you have given up your government duties to sit here at home. Mora Yata Karya Kama Saba Kaila Nasha Ketamora Hridaya Ache Kaha Mora Pasha. You have spoiled all my activities. What is your intention? Please tell me frankly. Sanatan Kaya Nahe Atma Haite Kama Are Eka Jana Dia Kara Samadhana. Sanatan Goswami replied, you can no longer expect any service from me. Please arrange for someone else to tend to the management. Tabe Kruda Hana Raja Kahe Arabara Tomara Bada Bhai Kare Tasu Vihavahara. Becoming angry with Sanatana Goswami, the Nawab said, your elder brother is acting just like a plunderer. Jiva Bahu Mari Kaila Chakra Saba Nasha Eta Tomi Kaila Mora Sarva Karya Nasha. By killing many living entities, your elder brother has destroyed all Bengal. Here you are destroying all my plans. Sanatana Gahe Tomis Svatantra Godeshwara Ye Doshakare Tehe Tarapala. Sanatana Goswami said, you are the supreme ruler of Bengal and are completely independent. Whenever someone commits a fault, you punish him accordingly. Eta Shuni Godeshwara Uti Gare Gela Palaiba Bale Sanatanere Bandahila. Hearing this, the Nawab of Bengal stood up and returned to his home. He ordered the arrest of Sanatana Goswami so that he would not be able to leave. It is said that the relationship between the Nawab of Bengal and Sanatana Goswami was very intimate. The Nawab used to consider Sanatana Goswami his younger brother. And when Sanatana Goswami showed a very strong intention to resign, the Nawab, feeling familial affection, essentially said, I'm your elder brother, but I do not look after the state government. My only business is attacking other states with my soldiers and fighting everywhere as a plunderer. Because I am a meat eater, Yavana, I am used to hunting all kinds of living beings. In this way I am destroying all kinds of living entities in Bengal. While engaged in this destructive business, I am hoping that you will tend to the administration of the state. Since I, your elder brother, am engaged in such a destructive business, you, being my younger brother, should look after the state management. If you do not, how will things continue? This talk was based on a family relationship, and Sanatana Goswami also replied in an intimate and joking way. Essentially, he told the Nawab, my dear brother, you are the independent ruler of Bengal. You can act in whatever way you like. If someone commits fault, you can punish him accordingly. In other words, Sanatana Goswami was saying that since the Nawab was accustomed to acting like a plunderer, he should go ahead and take action. Since Sanatana was not showing much enthusiasm in performing his duty, the Nawab should dismiss him from his service. The Nawab could understand the intention of Sanatana Goswami's statement. He therefore left in an angry mood and orders Sanatana Goswami's arrest. In other words, he was inviting the Nawab to take action to arrest him and to oust him from the service. He was tricking him into doing it, actually. Hina kale gele raja udiya marite sanatane gahe tumi chala morasate. This time the Nawab was going to attack the province of Orissa, and he told Sanatana Goswami, come along with me. Hussain Shah attacked the province of Orissa in 1424, the Shakabda era. At that time he conquered the feudal princes of neighbouring Orissa. Tenyo kahe yabe tumi devataya duka dite mora shakti nahe tomara sange yaite. Sanatana Goswami replied, you are going to Orissa to give pain to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. For this reason I am powerless to go with you. Tabe tanre bhandi raki karila gamana etanila chala hoite prabhu chalila vrindavana. The Nawab again arrested Sanatana Goswami and kept him in prison. At this time, Ch.Ch. Mahaprabhu departed from Vrindavan from Jagannath Puri. Tabe se doi chara rupa tani aila Vrindavana chalila prabhu ashiya kahila. Two persons who went to Jagannath Puri to inquire about the Lord's departure returned and informed Rupa Goswami that the Lord had already departed for Vrindavan. Shaniya Shri Rupa Likila Sanatana Thani Vrindavana Chalila Shri Chaitanya Goshai. Upon receiving this message from his two messengers, Rupa Goswami immediately wrote a letter to Sanatana Goswami saying that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had departed for Vrindavan. Ami doi bai chalinganya tanhare milite tumi yaichi taichi chuti aisha tahan hoite. In this letter to Sanatana Goswami, Srila Rupa Goswami wrote, we two brothers are starting out to go to see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. You must also somehow or other get released and come to meet us. The two brothers herein mentioned are Rupa Goswami and his younger brother, Anupama Malika. Rupa Goswami was informing Sanatana Goswami that he should join him and his younger brother. Dasha Shastra Mudra Tahaya Ache Mudi Stane Tahaya Dia Kara Shigra Atma Vimochane. Rupa Goswami further informed Srila Sanatana Goswami, I have left a deposit of 10,000 coins with the grocer. Use that money to get out of prison. Yaichi Taichi Shruti Tumi Aisha Vrindavan Eta Liki Doi Bhai Karila Gaman. Somehow or other, get yourself released and come to Vrindavan. After writing this, the two brothers, Rupa Goswami and Anupama, went to see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Anupama Malika Tandra Nama Sri Vallabha, Rupa Goswami Chotabai Parama Vaishnava. Rupa Goswami's younger brother was a great devotee whose actual name was Sri Vallabha, but he was given the name Anupama Malika. Tanya Langya Rupa Goshai Prayaga Aila Mahabrutan Shuni Andita Haila. Sri Rupa Goswami and Anupama Malika went to Prayag, and they were very pleased to hear the news that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was there. Prabhu Chalyachena Bindu Madhava Dashane Laksha Laksha Loka Aishe Prabhura Milane. At Prayag, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to see the temple of Bindu Madhava, and many hundreds of thousands of people followed him just to meet him. Kehe Kande Kehe Hase Kehe Nache Gaya Krishna Krishna Boli Kehe Gadagadi Yaya. Some of the people following the Lord were crying, some were laughing, some dancing, and some chanting. Indeed, some of them were rolling on the ground, exclaiming Krishna Krishna. Ganga Jamuna Prayaga Narila Du Boite Prabhu Dubila Krishnera Prema Vanyate. Prayaga is located at the confluence of the rivers, two rivers, the Ganges and the Yamuna. Although these rivers were not able to flood Prayag with water, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu inundated the whole area with waves of ecstatic love for Krishna. Bida deki doi bai rahila nijane Prabhu Ravesha hoila Madhava Dashane. Seeing the great crowd, the two brothers remained standing in a secluded place. They could see that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was ecstatic to see Lord Bindu Madhava. Yes, okay, Hare Krishna. We continue a little short while, because we're going to come to the end of this particular part. I'm going to pass on then. Yes, Hare Bol. Such good servitors, always working. Pramesha Nache Prabhu Haridvani Hari Udva Bahu Kari Bale Bala Hari Hari. The Lord was loudly chanting the holy name of Hari, dancing in ecstatic love and raising his arms. He asked everyone to chant Hari Hari. Prabhura Mahima Deki Loka Chatmakara Prayage Prabhura Lila Nari Varni Bara. Everyone was astounded to see the greatness of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Indeed, I cannot properly describe the pastimes of the Lord of Prayag. Dakshinatya Viprasane Ache Prarichaya Se Vipra Nimantriya Nila Nicha Laya. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had made an acquaintance with a Brahmana from Deccan in South India, and that Brahmana invited him for meals and took him to his place. Vipra Grihe Ashi Prabhu Niprite Vasila Sri Rupa Vallabha Dunhe Asiya Milila. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was sitting in a solitary place in the home of the Deccan Brahmana, Rupa Goswami and Sri Vallabha Anupama Malika came to meet him. Doi Gucha Trina Dunhe Dashane Dariya Prabhu Deke Doi Pade Dandavad Hananya. Seeing the Lord from a distance, the two brothers put two clumps of straw between their teeth and immediately fell down on the ground like rods, offering him obeisances. Nana Shloka Padi Ute Pada Bara Bara Prabhu Deki Pramevesha Haila Dunhara. Both brothers were overwhelmed with ecstatic emotion, and reciting various Sanskrit verses, they stood up and fell down again and again. Shirupe Dekiya Prabhura Prasana Haila Mana Uta Uta Rupa Aisha Balila Vachana. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very pleased to see Sri Rupa Goswami, and he told him, stand up, my dear Rupa, come here. Krishnera Karuna Kichu Na Yaya Varnane Vishaya Kupa Hoite Kadira Toma Dui Jane. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then said, it is not possible to describe Krishna's mercy, for he has delivered you both from the well of material enjoyment. Name Bhaktas Chatuvedi Mad Bhaktaha Shvapachaha Priyaha Tasmai Deyam Tata Grahyam Sacha Pujo Yata Hi Aham. Even though a person is a very learned scholar of the Sanskrit Vedic literatures, he is not accepted as my devotee unless he is in a pure devotional service. Even though a person is born in a family of dog eaters, He is very dear to me if he is a pure devotee who has no motive to enjoy fruitive activities and mental speculation. Indeed, all respect should be given to him. Whatever he offers should be accepted. Such devotees are as worshipable as I am. The first is included in the Hari Bhakti Vilas and Bible by Sanatana Swami. Ishloka Padi Dunhare Kaila Alingana Kipate Dunhara Mataya Dahrila Charana. After reciting this verse, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu embraced both brothers. And out of his causeless mercy, he placed his feet on their heads. Prabhu Kripa Panya Dunhe Doihata Yodi Dina Hanya Stuti Kore Vinaya Achari. After receiving the Lord's causeless mercy, the brothers folded their hands and in great humility offered the following prayers unto the Lord. Namo Mahavadanaya Krishna Prema Padayate Krishna Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gaura Vitvishe Namaha. O most magnificent incarnation, you are Krishna himself appearing as Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. You have assumed the golden colour of Srimati Radharani and you are widely distributing pure love of Krishna. We offer our respectful obeisances unto you. Yogyana matam bhuvanam dayalur Vlagyan apika korot pramatam Swaprema sampat sudhyayad habhutetam Shri Krishna Chaitanyam amum prabhadye. We offer our respectful obeisances unto the merciful Supreme Personality of Godhead who has converted all three worlds, which were maddened by ignorance, and saved them from the diseased condition by making them mad with the nectar from the treasure house of love of God. Let us take full shelter of that Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, whose activities are wonderful. This verse is found in the Govinda Lilamrita. Tabe Mahaprabhu Tanre Nikate Vashahila Sanatera Varta Kaha Tanhare Puchila. After this, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sat them down by his side and asked them, What news do you have of Sanatana? And at that point, I will stop here because then it goes into another aspect of the Leela. It's a good point, we'll just hope we can pick it up tomorrow. Jai, Chaitanya Charamrita ki Jai, Jai, Leela of the Lord instructs Srila Rupa Goswami ki Jai. Could you go and ask Pandita to turn the Jai Shri Bhakti Nirmala Acharya Maharaj ki Jai. Jai Shri Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj ki Jai.